All right, so what you're looking at is the district page for Destiny Library Manager, and the district website is library.nycenet.edu. That takes you to the page where all the schools are listed. So today we're going to cover circulation. So how do you log in and check out books to students? Cataloging, how do you search to find books in your catalog? And doing basic reports. Obviously, there's a lot more to the system than that. But if you would like to learn more about Destiny, you can attend an in-person training. We're going to have another one on October 5th. And you can always email me if you have any questions. I'll also direct you to other supports where you can find additional information about different functions in Destiny. So let's get started with circulation. If you're on our listserv and or our Microsoft Teams page, if you're not, let me know and I can add you. There's been some changes to Destiny because of a lot of the security features that have been put in by DIIT. So traditionally you would log in using SSO, single sign-on. So when you come to this page, you would find your school and it would take you to what's called Discover. So this is the public face of Destiny, and it's the site that your teachers, students, and parents would see. So then you would click here and then click on this screen to log in. Now, if you log in this way, there's two things to keep in mind. One is you have to go incognito if you're using Chrome because you don't want the single sign-on to interfere with any of the other applications that require it, like your email or STARS or any other DOE applications. Or you could use Microsoft Edge as a browser. I'm not sure if Safari works, so I would use one of the two, either Discover or Chrome. However, you don't necessarily have to log in through the SSO. You can also log in down here. So you would just enter your username and your email password, and it should take you to your login. Now, it's not going to be your whole address, just your username. A final option, if this doesn't work, is to log in as a district user. So let's just see if that works. A district user, I'm just going to use another browser to show you. Would be logging in here as a district login. So, okay, this didn't work here. So let me log in as in the district user, and I can put in my DOE username and DOE email password. Okay, so that works, and it takes me to the back end of Destiny, which is the part where you do all of your reports and circulation and cataloging. Now, to toggle back and forth between the public view, which is Discover, and the back office, you'd go here to More and Back Office, and then it'll take you back to what they call Destiny Classic. And Destiny Classic is where you do all of your basic administrative tasks with Destiny. Okay, does anyone have any questions on logging in? All right, so let's go to circulation. All of your students are in your catalog already. So every Sunday night we get a file from ATS that's uploaded into the system. So if you have a new student that starts today, as long as they're registered in ATS, they should appear in your catalog next week. We also get a file from Galaxy, which has all the staff information. So anyone who has a DOE email address would be will automatically have an account in Destiny. So that includes your teachers, your paraprofessionals, and your school leadership will be included in the catalog. So the first way to find someone to check out a book to is just by looking up their name. So you can type in either their first or last name. Just going to type a first name, and I'm going to click Find Patron. Okay, so what this shows is that there's a student, Maria. This is her barcode, which is her OSIS number, her homeroom, and her grade level. Okay, so it does include homerooms from 3K through 8th grade. It's going to be the official homeroom, not necessarily their classroom number, but the official homeroom. And that's important because you can use that to check out by class if you want to expedite your circulation. So if Maria comes up to the desk, I click on her name, she hands me the book, and then hopefully all of you have a scanner. And so the student brings the book to you, you scan the library barcode, and the book is checked out. Obviously, I can't demonstrate that to you, so I'm just going to find a copy of a book and check it out to the student just as an example. So say she wanted Cat Heaven. And so in real life, she would have this book and this barcode would be on the back of the book, so I'd be scanning it in. But for this example, I'm just going to click on the barcode, okay? And the book is checked out. So you notice it's due October 16th, 2023. Now, the default checkout is 2 weeks, and I have put in all of the dates that the New York City public schools are closed. So if a student checked out a book on, so this is actually more than 2 weeks. Okay, well, the default for most schools is 2 weeks, but in this school, I believe they put 3 weeks. So 3 weeks from now would be, I can't even add, it would be October 13th. So you're wondering why it's due the 16th, which is a Monday. So this is including the days that school is closed next Monday and the Italian Heritage and Indigenous Peoples Day, and so it extends the checkout. Okay, so those dates are already in the catalog, so it'll push back the checkout, taking those holidays into mind. So those are sort of pre-programmed through the school year. Now, if the student needed the book longer, you could click here and then change the date. So, or if they are a fast reader and they only need the book for a week, you can make the date even shorter. Okay. So you can change the date. Or if it's a teacher and you want to give them like extra time, if they're using it for a unit or something like that, you can do so. Okay. So the book is checked out to the student. Okay. The other way to do checkout is by homeroom. So if you click on homeroom, you can select the official homeroom. Let's just go to her class, 340. And you can see all the students appear at once. So this makes the process of checking out books faster because you don't have to ask each student their name and then type it in to find it. You can just click on their name, check out the book to the student. Then you would go back to select patron and it would take it back to the whole class. So then you could click on another student. So this makes it easy to toggle back and forth between students in the same class. Does anyone have any questions about these two methods of checkout?
Yes, hi, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I had trouble getting online, so I missed the very beginning of this, the first couple of minutes. Will this be what you're presenting to us? Is there a way for us to get this on slides or a video or something, just so I know what I missed in the beginning?
Yeah, it's being recorded. The only thing you missed was just logging into the system.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's new to me, so I would need to know how to do that. So you're saying that it'll be in a recording we can have a copy of or get to?
Yeah, and if you want to stay on after, I
Okay,
can answer your question then. So
that would
I'll
be
probably
great.
I'll turn off the recording and we can just
Oh, that would be
I
amazing.
can show
Thank
you.
you so much.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any questions about circulation? Okay. When you check in books, it's quite easy. You don't have to look up any patron. You can just check all the books in. So I advise people to have a designated area where the books are returned. It could be a book cart. It could be a book drop if you're lucky to have that in your desk. It could be a particular area on the circulation desk. Maybe you have a box or basket or just a clear area where you have a clear signage that that's where the books are returned. And then you can just scan them in all at once. So as the students, if you have a cluster schedule as the students are coming in, you could quickly scan in all the books and then have them sit down. And then when they come to check out books at the end of the period, the books have already been checked in. If you don't have time to do that, you could always just check the books in at a later time if you're trying to balance instruction with book circulation. Um, and then the final way to make your circulation even quicker is if you're in grades, if you're working with grades 3K through 8, you can go to reports and patron reports and then barcode labels. Okay. So you can decide by homeroom, and this will allow you to print out all of the homerooms. So you could go from the first homeroom to the last, and then make sure you only include active students. Then go to make sure you click start a new page for each group and use at the circulation desk. So this will label the homeroom at the top. And then you go to run report. Now, what you can do at the end of this is print these out on just regular printer paper, and you can then cut you can put them in a 3-ring binder, and then you can just go to the class and it will easily say that so you can easily click. Oh wait, I did actually made a mistake. Okay, let me do that again. So, all right, we want to print by homeroom. Okay. So you notice it was alphabetical order. So you want to sort by homeroom, okay, and then by, I guess you can say grade level. Okay. So again, we want to use at circulation desk, start a new page for each group. All right, so just make sure that it's set up that way. And you can run the report again. Okay, you'll see the difference. So now it comes, I have the homeroom written at the top here, and then all the students, and then I can just print this out and put it in a binder. So then when the class comes in, I can easily just scan their name and then scan their book. So this makes the homeroom or the checkout process even faster. It doesn't include the teachers. So if you wanted to print out a separate report, you could do patron reports just for faculty. So you would uncheck these two other patron types, do by patron name, and then you could put on a report that would include all the faculty. So I'll just do that real quick. And you can see here, I could also put this in the binder in the front of the back, and then this would have all the faculty to check out too. You'll notice that their barcodes are different. So it's their employee reference number with FAC in front. So when you're looking up a patron individually, this is also how you can tell if it's a teacher or a student. Any questions on that process?
Yeah, just a quick question about that. When you print the barcodes, so you're saying when the children come in, you would scan the barcode and that's how you would check out the book or return the book? I'm not following.
Just how you would check out the book.
Okay,
So
so in other words, if they came in, we could just pull out the binder and quickly scan that. This would only be for checkout. Is that correct?
Yes. So if this class, so say you had this printed and it was in a binder, you'd open it to the binder, you would scan their name and then scan the book. So,
Okay.
and it has it listed up here. So you know this is homeroom 002, which is probably
But
a
you can't use
pre-K.
that for returns.
No, in returns, you just check all the books in. So when you go to returns, you just go to check in, you just scan all the books. You're not looking up any
Oh,
individual.
right. Okay, you just take the scanner and just scan it in and it'll just automatically return the book, correct?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Hi,
Any other questions?
yes, I'm sorry. I have a quick question. So
Sure.
my students here, they have their student IDs, and it looks like this barcode may be like, is it attached to their OSIS number? These barcodes?
Yes, their barcodes are their OSIS number.
Okay, because I'm trying to think because last year the librarian here scanned the back of their ID card. I don't think he printed these things out. Does it make a difference?
No, you could print the barcodes on labels and then
Okay.
attach that to like some people create like library cards, for example. You could have
Okay.
the students decorate them and print them out. You could put the barcode on the card or even a shelf marker.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else have any questions about how to do circulation? Okay, so we're going to move on to the catalog. So there are aspects that we're not covering because we only have an hour. So just to give you a sense, if you feel like you wanted to come on October 2nd, sorry, October 5th, or a later training in person. So in that one, we cover how to order books, because you order books from vendors, how to import those records, and or how to add books into the system that are not processed, meaning they don't have a barcode and they don't have a spine label on them. Um, the time restraints prevent me from covering those aspects. So I'm just going to cover how to search because obviously a lot of students and teachers are going to come to you to ask if you have certain books. And I'm actually going to go to a different catalog that has where you can see the cover art. Okay. So you'll notice here that the art doesn't show, or the book cover images. So in order to have that available, you want to join the My Library NYC program, and I'll put the link for how to join that into the chat towards the end of the session. That allows you to pay what's called the maintenance fee for Destiny, which includes the cover images, tech support from Follett that you can call and use, and also integrating databases into the catalog from Novel New York. So I just want to show you a catalog that has the cover images. So you can see what it looks like. Also, if ideally you want to train your students how to use the catalog as in your library class, because one, you don't want them to always come to you to ask what you have. It's empowering for them to search the catalog themselves, and you can teach them a lot of great searching skills that they can use when they're online. So searching by title, author, and topic are great searching skills to use when they're using Google or Bing, or using a database to find articles for research. You can teach them how to use what's called Boolean. We're going to cover that in a PD we're going to do later in the year on research that's using more than one term. So there's a lot of benefits to teaching them to use the catalog. So in this case, does anyone want to type in a topic in the chat or say one to look for? Okay, so I'll just do sharks. Okay, so someone says, do you have any shark books? So if you type in sharks, okay, this is all the results. So you notice which is really nice. It tells you if it's in or out. Very, very visually appealing. Okay. You can also change the layout. So if you want the card view, you can get, you know, a larger set or smaller. And then if you click on the book, it tells you a little bit more about it. So this tells you, what it's about. And down here, it tells you, just a little bit more about the book to see if that's something that the student would want to check out. It does have citations, so they can get, if they use this for research, they can copy and paste it into their works cited page. And then there's just more info. Okay. Up here, if you click on these three dots, you can share this. So if you wanted to let a teacher know that there's this particular book's available, or a student, each book has its own URL or link to it. So you could put this on your library website, or you could give the QR code. You could print this out and paste it around your library if you were doing some kind of fun scavenger hunt or something to help students find books. Okay. You might see some other options here. Now, students can actually log into the catalog if you want to teach them that using their DOE login and password. Now, all schools that had their own domain, so if schools had their own Google sites, they have until next month. They're forcing everyone to move over. So even if your students have been using like at ps527.org site, that's going to be defunct as of next month. So everyone's going to be using their DOE credentials to log into their DOE Google account for their school. So chances are that your students will become more familiar with using that to log in. And the reason you might want to promote that with middle and high school or upper elementary is that if they log in, they can rate a book, they can add a review, so they can write a review, and it wouldn't be approved unless you say so. Okay. And they can also, make a book a favorite, stuff like that. Okay. So those are just some options that they can do if they find a book. The other thing is you can filter down over here. So one thing that's nice is if 20 books is too many, you can decide, okay, I only want, so down here, you can just do fiction, unless you wanted to do nonfiction. You could do reading level. So this 6th grade and that's 2nd grade. So you could move it down. So if you want to do 2nd grade, 3rd grade, it's going to move it down to 3 books. Okay. You could do interest level, Lexile level. So these are ways you can filter it. And you could do pages. So the longest book in here is 168 pages. So if you wanted to squeeze that down to, let's see, 40, we'll go 29. Okay, there's 29 books that have it. So that brings it down to 3. Okay. So you can see here. Okay. So those are just some ways to search to find books in the catalog. One other tool, just to show you, if you want to create collections of books. So if you wanted to mark all these shark books to make it more easy for students and staff to find, or books on sea creatures or something like that, you can create a collection. So if you click on collection, okay, you don't have any collection. All right. So we'll go back to home. Okay, then you could click on collections up here. And so these are ones that other librarians have created across the city. So you can just get some sense of how people have used that, first day of school, reading around the world. Now your students wouldn't see this because I'm only seeing this because I'm logged in. So they wouldn't see collections from other schools that have been created. They would just see ones that have been created by you or other teachers in your school. But this just gives you a sense of what it looks like. So you can make this, kind of, it's a nice way to have people find books in your collection based on a particular topic. So I'm just going to show you very briefly how to create one. Okay, so what you do is you go to collections and you would think of a topic you'd want to create. So it could be, here are some ideas. First day of school. Obviously some of these are related to curricular units. It could be award-winning books. So those are just some ideas. It could be new titles or a season or maybe some kind of topic or field trip that's happening or an author study. Lots of possibilities. So to create one, you would just go to private, and these are just some sample ones I've created. I haven't made any of these public, but all about me, books into movies, holiday festival, starting school, SEL. I'm not sure what that was. Challenge books, fun series. Some of these are, oh yeah, just test. But you can see, so these are just some different options and titles. So creating a collection is quite easy. You just go to create collection and you would give it a title. So you could say like new graphic series, for example. Okay, you can skip the grade if you don't want image and color. They have stock images, so you can include a stock image, or you could upload your own image. Okay. And we'll just create the collection. So that's pretty simple to do. So I'm going to add an item. Here I could put in a website, so I could maybe put a link to Sora, which the Citywide Digital Library, which is where we have our ebook collection for the city. I'll put a link to that towards the end of the training, and those students can access, and teachers with their DOE credentials, so they can, if there's books that maybe are checked out on a popular series, you could direct them there and they could find the titles to read on a device. Teachers can also access Sora to show books on an interactive whiteboard for read alouds or close reads, because there's a lot of nonfiction on there as well. You could also upload if you have anything saved from Google Classroom or OneDrive, if you have any presentations or the equivalent of Word documents or classroom materials you want to bring over. And then you can also connect to other collections you may have created. But if you want to add a book, so let's just do graphic series, graphic biographies. Okay. Doesn't have anything. All right, we'll just do graphics. Okay. Okay, this school might not have. Oh, that's why I'm not looking at books. Okay. Sorry, let me do that search again. It was defaulting to collections because that's where I'd been before. All right, so we'll just go back to. Okay, so maybe you want to do this. I Survive series is quite popular. So you have I Survive, a graphic novel. So I'm going to go through here. And then if I click on these three dots, I can just add the book to the collection. Okay. And then if I wanted to find more books in the series, I could just go to survival. comic books, and we'll see what else this school has. Okay, so collection. I'm just gonna add these 4 just so you get a sense of what their collection looks like when I'm done. Collection. Okay, so now in my collections, I have 4 books. Okay. That are in this collection. Now, one thing you can also do with this is you know, obviously they can see it on your catalog, is you can create a PDF. So if you wanted to create something for your library, if you had a poster maker, obviously you could blow this up. You could print it out and just hang it up, and then they could click here and it would take them directly to the the book in your catalog. Well, it's kind of a nice visual that you can also do. Okay, any questions on searching or creating a collection? Okay, so we're going to move on to.
I'm so sorry. Just one more question.
Oh yeah,
Quick question. So this is, I'm still a little confused. This is through Destiny?
yes.
Okay, and what tab when you go onto Destiny? Like, I missed the part how you get onto this, like how you, when you were back on the page where you were looking at cataloging, what did you hit at the top to get here, to get to this point?
The collections.
So you would go home and then go to, so home was where you had us with the scanning the books.
No. So this is the front face of Destiny that's the catalog that's searchable. So when students and parents and teachers come to your catalog to find books, this is where they'll go. So you can create collections that direct them to
Right. I think what I
different
missed
topics.
was the step how you got here.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
so so if you go to back office, that is how you get back to the functional part of Destiny.
Yes. How do you go from the functional part of Destiny to search?
Okay, you go to catalog and Destiny Discover. And
So
then
we
that'll
just hit
open
catalog,
and then Destiny Discover.
catalog, and then this pops up, Destiny Discover.
Yeah, it's on the left-hand side.
Okay.
So if you're in catalog,
Okay.
you can go to Destiny Discover. So you just click on this link here on your left, and then that will change so not only will that web address change, but the whole interface changes because it's the searching part of the catalog.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I missed.
Any other questions or? So we're going to go back to what's called Destiny Classic. So this is where you can do reports. So the most common report you'll want to do is overdue. So as soon as you've checked out books or you found books for them to check out, okay, then if you go to reports, the overdue report is under library reports. Okay, so you go to reports, and one thing you'll notice about Destiny is it highlights in orange, so you always know where you are. Okay, so I'm on the reports tab, so it's highlighted. I'm looking under library reports, so there's an orange button here. So that's just kind of to help you navigate. And that report is called Current Checkouts and Fines. So we're going to look at 2 different reports under this. The first one is report, which is just a summary. This is more for you just to see, especially if you're new to the library, what is out and what do I need to get back. And then after this, we'll look at notices, which are the ways you let a student know that a book is overdue. Okay. I'm also going to show you an option you can look at in the circulation too. You can let a student know at the point of checkout as well if something's overdue, but we'll look at that after. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is a report. So you can decide if you want it to be Excel or PDF. Okay, for this purpose, we're just going to look at PDF. So you click continue, then you uncheck what your students owe to another site because you just want to focus on what do they owe to your site. Then we're going to do continue, and then you can decide how you want to sort. So it's going to default to their last name, but you can decide if you want it to sort by grade level or homeroom. Let's choose homeroom. And then what information do you want to include? So if you have the cover images, you might want to display it. You might want to look at the grade and the homeroom. Okay. So we're going to run the report. And then anytime you want to look at a report, it's going to be in what's called Report Manager down here. And so you can refresh the list, or lots of times it'll just do it automatically. Okay. So you know when it's completed that you can view it, and it'll typically open into a new tab. Okay. So you're going to see very quickly, you know, what's overdue. So it'll just have the student's name, and then what grade and homeroom they're in, and then what book's overdue. Okay. So this is just for you to print out. Okay. Just to kind of get a summary. So you may find that it's much larger than that. That's actually a pretty good overdue amount. Oftentimes I see schools that have hundreds or hundreds of overdues out. So say you want to let the students know, oh, you have this book overdue. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. One is to print out notices. So again, you go to library report, current checkouts fines, and then instead of clicking report, you're going to click notice. Then click continue, uncheck this, and then click continue. So you have a couple of options here. One, you can print out the notices, and you can decide how many per page. So depending on how many books you have overdue and how much paper and ink you have available, that's going to determine how many notices you put on each page. You can also customize this message just for this report. So if you want to have more details or be even more friendly, you could change the language. If you want to be more direct, you could also do that as well. So then you would just include the grade, number, and homeroom, and you would run the notice. So this is something you would then print out, and you could cut it, with a cutter, and then maybe sort them by homeroom. And then you might give it to their teacher to pass out to the class. Or if you're in a cluster schedule, you might pass those slips out when they come into the library. Another option is to email. So all the students and teachers, because you'll have teachers that have overdue items, have their DOE email included in their account. So if they check their email account, then you can send this email to them to let them know that the item is overdue. One option for younger students is if you can obtain the email addresses of their parents, you can send me an Excel file, and I'm just going to type in what I would need. So I would need the student's first name, student last name, their OSIS number, and then the email. So if you send me an Excel sheet of the student's first and last name, their OSIS number, and then the parent's email, I can upload that and it can be added to their account. So in that situation, they would have a secondary email address listed in their account. So you could click email to and then click run notices and it would send it to both email addresses. So you can make sure that they would check it. Another option you can do is you can save the setup. So if you click here, you can schedule this to run on an ongoing basis. So if you have a lot of overdues and you want to remind people in different ways that something is owed back to the library, you could name this report as overdue email, and then you could schedule it to run weekly on Monday at 8 a.m. That's the default, but you could choose, a different date and time. If you kept it like this, that means that every Monday at 8 a.m., whoever has an overdue book will receive an email notice that it's due back. The nice thing about this is it doesn't include your personal email address, so it's not coming from you. It's coming from this generic, let me show you. It's coming from this generic Destiny email address here. Do not reply Destiny support. So it kind of seems like an automated message, which it is. So you can just say, oh, the system is sending it to you. If people complain, you could always, turn it off if you don't want to keep reminding them of a book that's overdue. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on this process? Okay, so another option is if you have a student that comes in and has an overdue book, let's just see who one of those students was. Okay. Okay, so if you have a student comes in on their own or as part of a class and they have an overdue book, okay, what you can do is if you want to give them a receipt of that at the moment that they're there in front of you, you could click what's called print receipt and it'll generate a receipt. So if you want, you can buy a receipt printer and you can print out the item on a receipt printer. A library I just went to the other day, I think bought one on Shop.de. So then you're not printing it on, printer paper, but it's actual like receipt paper. So you can just hand it out to the student. Obviously, if you don't have that in the interim, you could print it out on maybe recycled paper or something like that and hand it to the student. So that's just kind of a nice way to let them know in the moment that they have an overdue. Or you could email this receipt. So if you know that, oh, they're going to lose this paper I send them or forget to, that it's there, you could always email it to them as well. So there is this option to do that nice reminder at the point of checkout, which is kind of handy. Does anyone have any questions on that process? Okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you is the how you can create items or kind of customize items a bit in your catalog. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. So we're going to go to admin and look at library policies. So that lets you know how long a book is checked out. So you can decide and how many books you want students to be able to check out. So it's just kind of a nice way to review what's there and decide if you want to make any changes to that. Okay, for some reason it's like, Okay, so while this is coming up, I'll just talk. So the default checkout period is 2 weeks for both faculty and students, which are the two main patron types in the system. So you can decide if that is how much time you want to give, how much time you want to give them. Okay, let's see if this works. All right. Okay, so we're gonna go to admin and then library policies. So in this school, they made different patron types, but you would only see, these are the two dominant patron types. Okay, so you can see loan period 14 days, and then this school, they gave ebooks 28 days. If you want to change this, you could go to this edit button and then decide, so the max checkouts is how many books can a student check out at one time. So in this school, they selected one. Obviously, you can make that more or keep one. If there's, but anything you put here can always be overwritten. So if you have a student that's an avid reader and you limit it to one checkout, they can still check out more than that. So if they came up and you scan the second book, this alert will come up, they're going to exceed the checkout limit. You can always just, do you want to proceed? You can just click yes and let them check it out. So everything you put in here can always be overwritten. So you don't have to follow it for particular cases. So, and then in this case for faculty, they give them 10 checkouts. So you can decide how much time you want to give them for each, how many books they can take out at once. Okay. You can also make the switch on the circulation type. So the defaults are going to be reference and regular. So reference books, we actually discourage people from purchasing because everything can be found online in terms of reference information. So you're not going to buy a set of encyclopedias anymore. You're going to use Britannica from a novel database. So in this case, you're probably going to keep it the same as the patron. The only thing I want to point out here is this overdue to lost. So if you click this and put in amount of days, what that means is that the system will automatically turn books that are overdue more than 90 days in this case, or you could change it, to like 180 or 300. It will turn those automatically to lost, which is a nice feature because if you have books that have been checked out even years ago and they're not going to come back, then this feature allows you to have the system automatically change those books to lost so that you don't have to do that yourself. And then it takes them out of the student's account, okay, especially if they're no longer at the school or the teacher as well. So this is a nice feature and I would encourage you to use it because otherwise you have to go in and individually clear out overdues, which would be very time consuming. So that's something I would put in as a recommendation, is that overdue to loss feature. Okay. And then the other thing is if you want patrons to be able to place holds, that's something you want to do. This allows you to set up how many holds they can place and then how long that they have before they have to get the book from you in the library. The last thing I'm going to mention before we close in just a couple minutes is inventory. Does anyone have any questions on the library policies? Okay, so the last thing is inventory. So if your library has been closed for a while, or if you're new to it, you might want to do an inventory, especially if one has never been done. This allows you to know what's on your shelf because you might have a lot of books in your catalog that when you search them, say they're in, but they're actually have disappeared for whatever reason. So, or you might have books on your shelf that for whatever reason were never entered into the system. They were never imported from a vendor. So an inventory is easy to use. If you have any in progress or completed, just make sure you clear them out. Just click finalize and clear them out. To do an actual inventory, you just click start new. You just give it a name, click start, and then you just start scanning. It's not hard to do, it's just time consuming. So if you need support with it, please don't hesitate to reach out and contact myself. I'll put my email address in the chat. One of our roles is to help in your library space. So if you need help with doing an inventory or reorganizing the space, or you need just some support on programming or what to do, how to lay out the library, or how to collaborate with teachers, or how to do, start integrating media literacy or research, please feel free to reach out to myself or one of the other coordinators, and we'd be more than happy to come and visit you and help you in your library space. Okay. So if there's no questions, I'm going to stop the recording, and then I will email you when this is going to be available. We'll probably put it on the listserv or the